Greetings, lords and ladies. There is very big news on the gaming front on the horizon, and that is Owlcat news. After a very long period of time, Owlcat is ready to make several announcements, and these announcements are going to be made on the 22nd of May at 6 p.m. Central European Standard Time. And the first announcement is simply going to be greater details on the up-and-coming DLC revolving a new origin and a new archetype for the game Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. And me personally, I've been holding off for quite some time for all DLCs to have been released before playing through the entire game, and so this is going to be a pivotal moment for me. The origin and archetype seem pretty interesting, I have to say. The archetype is a second-tier archetype called the Overseer, and the origin is referred to as the Arbites. Now, one can derive, etymologically or otherwise, from the names that these have something to do with justice or the execution of justice. And there are going to be different subtypes of these categories. You're going to be able to get cybernetic mechanical familiars in addition to all of this. And in all likelihood, this new origin and this new archetype are probably the best fit for a dogmatic character, although I personally tend to stay away from the dogmatic disposition. But this is almost certainly going to be announced in greater detail, and this is definitely coming out very soon, there's no doubt about that. And at that point, finally, presumably, all the DLC for Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader will have been released, unless there are additional announcements. Now, on top of all that, they're probably going to be announcing something about their next major game, or games. One thing we do know is something that the CEO said a while back, and I didn't hear this firsthand. I had a Russian friend translate it for me, but basically, Owlcat has been working on a AAA game. By AAA, this means full cinematics, it means fully voiced, this sort of thing. And it's very likely that this is going to be announced. How do we know? Well, we know because Owlcat recently released a survey, and I will post a link to the survey so you can fill it in too if you want to. It's very long, but I think it's worth it. And towards the end of the survey, when you complete it, they say there's some very big news around the corner. They're going to be making some very big announcements. And, of course, this could just refer to Rogue Trader DLC. It's entirely possible. But it also could refer to whatever else they're working on. And allegedly, if my Russian translator had transmitted this to me correctly, Owlcat is working on no fewer than 3 games. 1 AAA game with full cinematics and full voicing, and 2 more traditional isometric games. Now, I could be wrong about that. They could just be working on 1 game or 2 games, I don't know. But that's what I was told. One thing we're guaranteed to get more info on is Rogue Trader, whether or not they're adding more DLC down the line, more details about this DLC. And if you're a Rogue Trader person or a Warhammer 40k person, remember, this is the Warhammer Skulls event of 2025, and Owlcat is going to be a big part of that. Now, for the record, as it is a Warhammer 40k event or a Warhammer event more broadly, this does not just include Rogue Trader, so if you're interested in other games like Warpforge or Space Marine or Warhammer Total War or Blood Bowl or Battle Sector or Darktide or Tacitus, these seem to be all the titles that have been mentioned thus far, it would be wise to tune into this broadcast because it might be of interest to you regardless of whether or not you're interested in Rogue Trader and the news about Owlcat. Me personally, I'm most interested in the news about Rogue Trader and Owlcat more broadly. As many of you might know by now, I'm not a huge fan of 40k, but I still bought Rogue Trader, I've played a bunch of it, and I did so because I want to support Owlcat, because I think Owlcat is one of the best studios out there, if not the best currently, and I did so to show my support and will continue to do so, as long as Owlcat continues to produce the types of games that I like and appreciate. Now, regarding the survey, I thought it was very interesting because there really is a plethora of questions. I don't remember off the top of my head, because I took it a few days ago, how many, but it must have been somewhere between 40 and 60. And the thing is, they asked all kinds of interesting questions. Questions about different gaming genres. Action RPGs was a big one. Now, personally, I like action RPGs. They're okay. They're not my top genre. But it's interesting, for the record, that Owlcat would have asked about action RPGs specifically. They also asked about worlds and settings. What are your favorite settings? And you could list a whole bunch of them. And they even separated Dungeons & Dragons from the Forgotten Realms in that. And they talked about other settings like Pathfinder, and even different genres of games such as vampire-themed games. Now, I submit to you, lords and ladies, how awesome would it be for Owlcat to make an isometric vampire-themed RPG. That would be incredible. I would be beside myself, hopping up and down in excitement, and I don't do that sort of thing, I can assure you. An isometric vampire-themed CRPG by Owlcat. That would be incredible. Now, they're not making that, probably, but the fact of the matter is, they asked in great detail in the survey what kind of games you like. And I'm going to link the survey in the description. It will take a little while to fill in, but it's worth it, because your input is going to influence, ultimately, what Owlcat works on next and what their plans are as a developer. For the record, how many other studios out there put out these surveys and ask what kinds of games you like to play, what kinds of genres you find most interesting, whether or not you like vampire games, for example. Not many, in fact, I can't think of a single one off the top of my head. So, if you want to contribute to the future quality of Owlcat games, and more specifically, to the future of the types of games that you want to play made by them, I strongly urge you to head on over and take the survey, complete it, and with luck, with your influence and my influence, Owlcat will end up making a vampire-themed isometric CRPG. And otherwise, I would suggest you check out the Skulls broadcast. It's going to be interesting regardless, whether you like 40K or not, because Owlcat is going to be featured prominently. And that's it for the news right now. So as always, thank you for tuning in. If you like my videos and you like my takes, you can leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. It's much appreciated, as it really helps out the channel. And I'll check you out next time. Take care.